Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, this time reviewing on the first season of Batman Caped Crusader. Now, as you know, Caped Crusader is the next new Batman show, which of course was developed by Bruce Timm, as well as by James Tucker. And the premise of Batman the Caped Crusader is meant to be a superhero noir TV show that is meant to feature this 1940s era of Gotham where Bruce Wayne has slowly started becoming Batman, having to deal with the criminals of Gotham. And I think after sitting down to watch all 10 episodes, my best take on it is that it is Batman the Animated Series, but it's trying to be its own identity. So each episode is meant to have Bruce Wayne, Barbara, as well as basically Harvey Dent in their own sort of arc-like storyline. Throughout most of the episodes, we do get a glimpse of how Bruce has to play the whole Bruce Wayne identity, but also having to be his true self Batman. We see how usually Bruce Wayne has to deal with a dangerous villain or a kind of dark foil to him. I think one episode that definitely shows it is the episode Nocturne, where you kind of see how Natalia and her older brother are meant to be foils to Alfred as well as Bruce. Like, yeah, Natalia's meant to be a bit callous, she doesn't show any concerns for her victims, and Anton having to be the voice of reason to her. The only difference is Bruce actually tries to handle the situations more maturely and understands what Alfred's trying to say to him. Natalia doesn't, and because of her arrogant behaviour, ends up kind of putting Anton in danger. I think as well another episode that definitely works with Harvey Dent is how Harvey is quick to use any kind of questionable method to help fund his campaign. And because of him trying to do questionable things to make money to help make his campaign go the distance, he's quick to kind of end up getting himself in deeper trouble than it already was. I think what makes Harvey Dent work is that throughout the episodes, you get this sense that Harvey wants to make Gotham better, but to do it, he's using questionable methods. Unlike Bruce, who's trying to kind of make Gotham safer by being a symbol of hope. Harvey is meant to be the example of what can happen when you use greed, corruption, and questionable methods to help fund your campaign. I think the whole point of Barbara's arc is a lot like similar to Jim's. We kind of see how both Barbara and her father want to see the different sides of humanity. Well, Barbara wants to see the good in people, but what she's seeing is a reflection of her own and has to slowly realize the consequences of her own mindset. And you do see how Jim has to get Barbara to stop seeing things like a child and having to see things realistically. Now, I do think some of the characters do become a bit wasted potential, or they feel like they didn't really think about what to use, and a lot of the time it feels like it's similar stories we've seen before. I think noticeably when you have the episode with Basil Karlo as Clayface, it becomes clear it's kind of recycling old elements of the Batman episode Clayface. I think what made the Batman episode Clayface's work is Basil Karlo was a bit of this deadbeat loser. He was kind of thinking he was this good actor when he wasn't. The problem with this version of Basil Karlo when watching his character throughout the episode that he's in, he's quick to kind of go and alter himself just to get the attractions of a girl. And I can see where they were trying to say is how a lot of time people can alter themselves. They can kind of do questionable things to kind of make themselves look different. Or it's kind of like when they put Floyd Lawton in the story only to quickly get him shot and axed off. I think the problem with Onomatopoeia is that I can see they were going with something completely different with his character and trying to make him a bit more of this character who says bang, well, sham, and all that. I think Floyd Lawton is more interesting because he's literally meant to be a dark foil to Bruce. He's literally meant to be that example of what Bruce could become if he used his skills for assassinations. I think the rest of the episodes feel like it is trying to emulate close to Batman the Animated Series. It's clear it's trying to be something completely different, and I think this becomes clear that Bruce Timm still wants to carry on the DC animated universe as well as Batman the Animated Series. But I think Bruce Timm's fatal flaw is not understanding if something's been done and dusted, or if there's nothing left after so many years. It's best to move on, not try to go back on your previous work and do with something that feels like a more similar version. But I can see where Bruce Timm is trying to be completely different. He is trying to take different takes with the characters, different alternatives, different ways of sort of setting the series, like having Harvey Bullock as fully corrupt with Arnold Flash. You can kind of get a sense that Harvey does seem to have hints and regrets about basically Flash treating him more like his henchman, and when when Flash asks Harvey to hit him, you can really tell he knows this isn't right, but he just kind of goes along like a typical yes man. I think to me is that Batman the Caped Crusader is clearly trying to go back to the Golden Age roots. It's trying to be something completely different, and it is taking different spins and different takes on characters while trying to embrace the Golden Age roots. So I think the series still deserves 2 thumbs in the middles. Well, it's not a great entry. It definitely feels like a fresh take, and it is clear that Bruce Timm is trying to bring back past elements, but still has the Batman the Animated Series on the brain, and it's clear that he still wants to kind of keep the flame going without kind of doing something else besides reusing the DC animated universe. So, comic book reviewer here, signing out.